All right, folks. Hope everyone is doing well. Good to see a mix of regulars on the call. You all should be able to um, see my screen now, and we're going to go through. Today's a little bit of a different day. I hope it's useful and entertaining. As always, please do ask any questions that you have in the side panel. We love to hear from you, so don't hesitate to post over there. So today's agenda, we were really struggling with what we wanted to cover today, because the last few weeks or even a couple months, we feel like we've covered a lot of the big topics. And so what we thought would be useful would be to do some show and tell. That is, show you what other publishers are doing, what they're doing well, sometimes the areas for improvement that exist, but also give you a sense of how you can incorporate different tips, tricks, techniques, contests, and so forth into your business. The key here is all of these things should be easy. Most of them should be reusing content you already have. So we're going to go through that, give you some different examples again, some real-world examples of things we've touched on in previous sessions, and perhaps a couple new items as well. With that, we're going to start with the 5-star reviews contest. Ryan's going to share a bit about one of our newer publishers and what they're doing to sort of kick off their website.
As many of you are familiar, 5-star contest is...
And actually, Ryan had started, but I think he's muted. I don't know if you all can hear Ryan. Let us know. Oh, there we go.
Let's try again. So as many of you know, we've been pushing the 5-star contest lately. The reason for that is it's a great jumping off point for getting people to, businesses and consumers to provide content for your site, get people involved in the directory, leaving reviews, and interacting with the community. West Coast Magazine is one of the more recent affiliates to launch the 5-star contest. And I wanted to share one thing they did that was really awesome. They took some of the materials we provided and they created this awesome flyer, which you see here in the bottom right. And they took a nice big graphics at 5-star reviews. They added some pictures of people working, local businesses working with local people, added the instructions in, and they're providing this on their instruction page for businesses so that they can print this out and either post it near their register or post it on the front door or wherever it makes sense. And they've also, I didn't get a screenshot of this one, but they also created a graphic that businesses could put on their website. And in both cases it says, support local, enter the contest, win $100 cash. And on this flyer they have their like us on Facebook and their logo and covers and all that. So it's a nice way to kind of brand the contest with their brand and give the businesses resources that they can use so they don't really have to think about how to promote the contest. We kind of outline all of that. Now, with that said, what I wanted to say is there's one small thing they could do here to improve the layout of this, and I realize I forgot to update the text at the top, so ignore that. But if you, instead of inserting the PDF and having it appear here, when you upload it, if you right-click on the link and say Copy Link Location, then you could come down in here towards the bottom where it says Post the PDF graphic and just highlight that text and create a link to it. So as you can see, Brian is being my hands here a little bit and doing some highlighting for me. I appreciate that. So just a way to kind of clean it up a little bit, make it look a little bit nicer. But great job with the flyer and a great way to help businesses help themselves, because we all know that we need to do as much as we can to help them and make it as easy as possible.
And that's really the great thing, right, is you want to take the guesswork out of things for people, because they will guess wrong or they will just wander away. And again, the 5-star contest, we touched on it in a previous series, or previous episode, if you will. But the great thing about this is you're incentivizing people to sign up on your directory, which makes your site look more robust. It creates more listings. Many of them are going to upgrade to get more prominence, which drives revenue. You get notified when they do this, so you've got now leads that you can follow up on. And, oh, by the way, they're literally promoting you by trying to get customer reviews. And if you give them tools that are easy to use, they're going to promote you in real life. They're going to promote you on their website. They're going to promote you on email, Facebook, etc. So big fan of that.
So this next one, I'm actually going to pass this back to Brian here in a second, but we just launched a new feature that allows us to highlight contests within the directory. And that's really cool because if someone's just visiting the directory for some other reason, you have a way of calling out, hey, we're running a 5-star review contest, or we're running a best of contest. And we just want to take a few minutes now, and Brian's going to show you how to set this up.
So this is one of the updates. Some of you already know that you could have run a contest in the directory before. Usually it would be used for Reader's Choice or Best Of. We've made some enhancements here. So I'm going to pop over to our little demo site here, and I'm going to show you a couple things. So the first thing is, as you can see, there is this graphic that appears throughout the directory. Now, there's a few elements. You've got a logo, which it automatically crops to square. You've got your title, your description, and then you've got this link here. And so all of these things are fully customizable. But I want to highlight a couple aspects. The first is that this thing appears everywhere in the directory. That means you can communicate anything you want here. It doesn't technically have to be a contest. So I can come in here and I can pick arts and entertainment, and I can look at these listings. All of these are bogus listings, but you'll notice it shows up prominently, which gives you, again, a great way to highlight some things. Now, if you get really carried away with the description, this will push the page down, so that's you want to be diligent with not getting too wordy. But you'll notice, by the way, one other thing. This listing has the announcement. However, this listing has the vote button. So one of the upgrades that we've just completed is the ability to say this is a contest only open to businesses in this category or subcategory. And because this is a restaurant contest, it's open to restaurants and sandwiches and burger places. Pardon me. I actually went further and said favorite American restaurant is for sandwiches and burgers. So this is the only category Express 102712 is eligible for. That's really great. So I can come in here and I can vote for it. You get the confirmation. This is actually provided by you as well. What you don't see is an email was just sent to me for voting, which is nice. It encourages them to share and leave comments and so forth. But I can also now unvote. If I clicked it by accident or whatnot, I can unvote. So I want to show you how this looks. And so to do that, you come up and you click on Manage Content and Contests. But then you can go further and you can look in here. And so you can see I've got my title and I've got my overview. Then remember there was that link. Here's what the copy says, and here is where it goes. In this case, what I did is I created an article on the site that actually had the entire description, the entire rules, the stuff that Ryan was talking about a moment ago, put that on an article, and then link to it, and then just give a preview up at the top of the page. I uploaded a logo. I set the start and end dates. I've got my success message. This is what people see when they vote. And then I've got my categories. So I've created a series of them, but you've got over here on the right the select categories piece. It's a little complicated. Categories, as in directory categories, are not the same thing as categories as in contest categories. So if I click on this, I can link one to the next. So favorite American restaurant is now eligible, as I scroll down, to be I can be eligible to win favorite American restaurant if I'm in one of these subcategories. And you can see I've selected these previously. And so each of these contest categories is linked to any subcategory. Now you can select all and make it open to everyone. If it's just best local business, anyone can win, but you can also scope. So you can do this. You can have one of these running every month. Best restaurants 1 month, best doctors the next, best lawyers the next, and so forth and so on. And in that time, anyone who goes to the directory is going to see this sort of graphic, but only the eligible businesses are there. So what does this mean? It means you want your business owners to be here. You want them to have claimed their listings so that it's actually categorized correctly. Because you may not know this, but when we import listings, we're only importing top-level categories. We can't import the subcategories. And so if you target to a subcategory, unclaimed listings may not show up as eligible there. So you really, really, really want to get people to claim their listings. Now, what I'm talking about here is specifically the Reader's Choice or Best Of. But there's a little trick. If I don't actually create any contest categories here, and I just go through the process of creating the quote-unquote contest, I can use this just as a message board for whatever I want, including the 5-star contest, because if you recall, the 5-star contest is about collecting customer reviews, not votes. So I need to click here to vote as opposed to click here to leave a review, which is my mechanism of entering. And so you don't want the vote button to appear. Anyways, I stammered through that. Point is, you can use this in a few ways, and feel free to play with it a bit. You can create them very quickly and then have any number of contests that you've run historically, and then you can export the data as well to use for Excel or tabulating results or so forth. So really excited about that update, and it's a tool I hope all of you start to use to promote the directory and get people really involved. As we were going through a training earlier this week, and in fact one last week, one of the things we were highlighting about the directory is, being present is great. Simply being there is useful. Having more reviews is useful for you ranking higher in Google. But when you start to layer on a level of what I'll call editorial, then your simple factual information about businesses becomes far more valuable, and Google respects that a lot more. So we want to do a lot to use this data in new ways and to make it as robust as possible. I wanted to revisit an oldie but a goodie here. And Lisa's on the call, I see, so I'm happy that you're here. I'm going to share some of the success that you had early on when you joined us, and that is, we've got all these contests, and contests are great for a whole variety of reasons, but this one has a special value, and that is it gets people who want to write for you for free to show up and promote your website. Oh, and you get paid in the process. So Lisa runs Mansfield Magazine, bi-monthly publication, 20-something thousand circulation, really nice local community publication. And when she joined us, she went out and she liked the idea of our Local Voices blogger contest, literally trying to find people in the community who are passionate about topics that just fit within your publication. And this works whether you're a magazine, a newspaper, or even just web only, although clearly one piece I'm going to mention has a print component. So she went out to Texas Trust, one of her better advertisers, and said, hey, we're doing some new things to engage our audience online. We want to find great locals. You're about the community. It's a great opportunity for you to sponsor this particular activity. And so I think she did a couple $1,000s for this sponsorship, which was a great steal for Texas Trust. And what happened is, if you see on the upper portion here, this appeared in print. So we have this article that sort of is canned and that she customized, and it went in print. And basically it says, hey, if you're interested in these topics, we want to hear from you as potentially becoming a blogger. Texas Trust got the logo there. They also had a little blurb in here about why they were supporting community, really reinforcing their values. And so all of this literally converted print readers into web visitors. Okay, I'm going to go online. Well, what do you see when you go online? You saw this big graphic, which I thought was a great simple graphic, to highlight the sponsor, what it is, and then information about the contest. Now I trimmed it, of course, for the sake of space, but clear, obvious, no guesswork. That rule holds true here. So people would enter, hi, I'm Brian, I have 3 kids, I like to golf, I'm going to blog about golfing. And then I would promote myself because I want to win. So I want to get my friends and family to vote for me. And so about 450 people shared, and it resulted in something like 80,000 impressions on Facebook that looked like this. Now, if you were with us last week, you saw us where we were talking about how businesses pages are reaching far fewer people on Facebook, as in 1 to 2% of your audience. 1,000 fans, your average post will reach 10 to 20 people. That's not great, but when people are promoting themselves and sharing, they're not limited to that. So all of a sudden, Texas Trust, who can't reach very many people on Facebook today, could do this again and get the benefit of other people promoting them. Now for you, by the way, when people share, when people comment, that actually helps with Google too. Now, it wasn't just about the contest. Lisa smartly combined this with banner ads, which you see, and with some advertorials. Sponsored articles about relevant content, why bank locally, those sorts of things. So you can see in the lower right, we've got this graphic, my low budget meter here, that highlights that in this case, it had a ton of print value, because what you don't see is after the winners were chosen, she announced them in print and thanked the sponsor. Ton of web value. Obviously, people are going there from print, people sharing it, etc. Social value because of the sharing, and secondary benefits, as in Now people are members of your site. They have to sign up to participate or to vote. So you have their email. We're able to engage them on your behalf and do some great things. So this is something that if you haven't run this, we really recommend that you do. If you have run it and it's been more than, say, 9 months, time to do it again. Why not make this an annual exercise, an annual fun thing? Because, you know, the bloggers come and they write, and some of them sort of run out of steam, and that's fine. But it's great content, it's great fun, and it's a unique perspective on things. So I really, I'm glad to revisit this, and I hope some of you will look at taking this on. It's also a nice thing to do heading into the summer months when things can be a little bit quieter with regards to other topics, like Valentine's Day is behind us, for instance. All right, Ryan's going to tell you a little bit about the restaurant guide concept and some things that one of our publishers have done recently.
Yeah, so this the screenshots you see here are an example from What's Up magazine in Annapolis, Maryland, and they've done a really cool thing with their restaurant guide and put this whole guide together based on the different areas within Annapolis, you know, whether it's downtown or I forget what the you know, upper Annapolis, greater Annapolis, like the different areas that people would be familiar with. And then they put this nice key together, and as an editorial, they were able to give more value than a simple basic directory listing. And Brian kind of started to allude to this a few minutes ago, but you know, the directory itself is a great place for the basic information: address, phone number, link to their website. You know, that's about being present on your site and, you know, being there so if someone searches, they get found. The guides are meant to take the directory a step further and provide context. So it's almost the difference between presence and promotion. When we talk about promotion, you are uniquely positioned to do some really cool things, whether it's do 1 or 2 sentences about each business. You know, maybe this is more of, you know, the editor's picks. You know, it's kind of putting your seal of approval on things. In this case, What's Up used the key to kind of give more information. There's some other things. The reason you want to do a guide to begin with is because it's really great for SEO and engagement. As you start to cross-link between the different guide pages that you have for each area and the directory, you know, people are going to be clicking around your site. If someone clicks on a link from Google, they're going to find exactly what they're looking for, which is great for SEO. You know, the couple things that I might change about the way What's Up did it would be, you know, maybe remove the address and phone number and website and leave that stuff in the directory. Just link the business name to the directory listing, and then find some other way to differentiate, whether that's copy, like I said before. You know, this is the best ice cream cone in the Annapolis, or, you know, potentially it's, you know, getting some more images from these businesses and, you know, having pictures of people in their shop. There's a lot of different things you can do to make it more engaging. They also did a really nice job of putting the restaurant guide call to action in their sidebar so people know that it's there and they can come and look at it anytime you want. So I thought they did a really good job of getting this going, and we just wanted to provide a few extra tips that, you know, you or them might, you know, find helpful if you're putting one together on your own.
And I'll take that a step further. You know, sometimes you're going to do this for purely editorial purposes, but there's no reason why you can't have pay to play. Or maybe if someone pays, they're going to show up at the top, or you're going to give them more images, or you're going to let them drop in a coupon if you want to go that direction. So there's definitely things you can do to make it more valuable. And as Ryan was talking about images, that's both on the guide page itself, which is on the left-hand side. It's hard to tell without the context, perhaps. So on the left-hand side, under downtown Annapolis, are the guides portion. But on the right-hand side, the restaurant guide, the lower right-hand corner, what they've done is they've created multiple guides. So we talk about rolling things up. So on the left, you can have links out to your directory listings, which is the lowest level, and that represents a guide. On the lower right, you have sort of a table of contents. So really what they have is a number of these guides that they're linking out to, and as Ryan said, having a little more photos, some more copy, even just a basic, you know, check out these 24 select restaurants from downtown Annapolis would be a nice addition to the pure links that appear here. So definitely like the guide approach. Could be restaurants, could be anything. We're actually playing with some ideas to take guides further and help you promote them in a more robust way throughout the site as well. So if you can get a guide or two set up as we continue to play with this and roll out a feature in probably a month or two, we'll be able to immediately put that into play. Now, as Ryan was talking, Natalie asked, what's the prize package for the blogger contest? And let me go back here. So in the case of Texas Trust, everyone who was selected, while there was voting, ultimately Lisa, the publisher, had a say of who she would choose. And so obviously the winners got the benefit of being able to blog. And you can set the rules, of course, don't make it an advertisement, et cetera, et cetera. But the primary prize in this case is the social reward. I talk a lot about my wife. She writes about real food. She doesn't have the largest audience. Audience is hard to get. I think it's hard for you. It's really hard for a blogger. So when they can blog for you, they get the credibility and the audience that you bring to the table. That's their primary reward. Now, if there can be a financial piece as well, great. Maybe you have a gift card for the winner, the top few slots, or depending on the sponsor, a different prize might be tied to it. But you want people to want to win because they're good at writing and they're passionate. Otherwise, it might be a fun contest, but it won't go anywhere. People will participate just for the cash, if you will. But combining the two is never a bad idea. You could also do things like a random winner. We've got lots of techniques you can employ in any social promotion, from a reward for participating to picking a winner at random to most votes get such and such a reward.
So this is just another example of a guide that we pulled off one of the affiliates we just started working with. So I don't want to put them on the spot because I know this is still a work in progress, but just to point out a few things that could make this even better. So this is just a takeout guide. It's a place where you can go and download all the takeout menus at the local restaurants. I know it doesn't appear this way, but those are actually all links below the graphic. So they do a really good job of linking out to the directory, and then they link to a PDF of the menu. But they've missed an opportunity to provide that context that we've been talking about, their seal of approval. So for maybe under each one of these, they say under American Pizza Pie, you say this is the best slice in town, you have to check it out. I mean, that gives even more credibility to the business because you as a publisher are giving it that credibility. I might resize this image and make it full width so it looks a little bit nicer. I love the style. It fits their brand very nicely, but he went full width. It would make it a little bit more visually pleasing. And I think the other big thing on this is, menus, and I understand why they made it menus because they wanted to have it in the top nav. They wanted it to say menus, but you're missing the opportunity to give this context if someone were to click on this in Google. So something like Griffin Takeout Guide, and Griffin is the town they're located in, would be a much more suitable title from an SEO perspective than just menus. Of course, that's obviously your choice, but something that you want to think very carefully about from an SEO perspective, and making sure that the titles are related to what the content is and descriptive, even more importantly.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, a lot of SEO stuff is a trade-off, and you have to. Once you know what you're trading on, then you can make an informed decision. So this may turn out to be the best option, considering how they want it to appear in the menu and so forth, or maybe an opportunity for improvement. Quick note on the image size. So as you all know, when you post an image in the system, it's going to create multiple sizes. And you have, when you do an inline image, an inserted image on a page or in an article, to use the original image size. So you can get something to be full width by setting the actual full width to match the width of the space, which is 628 pixels. It's actually listed on those pages so you can see it, but it's a way to sort of get a pretend fifth image size if you want it to fill that space nicely.
So I know at least with probably 90% of you, I've talked about the in this issue approach, and the other 10% is because you're web only, and this doesn't really apply. However, I do want to kind of recap this once again. So a lot of the times when we first start working with the publisher who hasn't had a huge website or hasn't done a lot with their website, they come to us and say, we want to put our digital edition in the sidebar. And if you've talked to us at any length, we have tried to explain why that is a bad idea. First, you're missing a huge opportunity for SEO. Just like in the guides, when someone comes to a specific page, they want to find content related to what they clicked on. You could have related articles, you could have online exclusives, you can even have your digital edition on an article, and then just link to it from the sidebar. In this case, they put a bunch of different digital editions in the sidebar, which doesn't look that great in my personal opinion, I suppose. But B, there could be some performance impact because they have, I think, 10 or 12 of these in there at this point. They're not indexable by Google because it's in the sidebar. That's a missed opportunity for people to find you in the future. A much better approach would be to follow the in this issue approach, and then I gave you an example in the bottom right of what you can put in the sidebar to link out to that article of the most recent issue. And if Brian, if you could just tab ahead to the next slide for me. There's a nice, easy way to do archives when you post each issue as its own individual article. You can basically come in, create a new page, call it archives, and use the insert functionality, which you see in the top right, and say click article, select in this issue, hit insert content, and then you can see how it automatically inserts the in this issue article. And now you have this nice little archive. So every time you repost, or every time you post an article, in this issue article, you come in and update this page and you insert it at the top. Nice, easy archive page. So this is a little bit difficult to communicate over the phone. So just to recap the steps, if you were to do and follow the in this issue approach, you would start by coming in and posting all the individual articles. Those are the individual articles that appeared in print. It might be a photo gallery article, anything you want. Step 2 is come in and create what we call the in this issue article. That's basically the summary of all of those articles where you insert each one of the individual articles. You give it a title that is in this issue, spring 2014. That's where you would put your digital edition. And then step 3 is create an archive page that lists all the in this issue articles. So hopefully that is a little bit more clear. I just wanted to point this out because Locable, who is actually who you see here on the left side, does a really good job of doing this, and I think Brian's going to pull it up. Did you have anything else to add to that?
I mean, it's more work than slapping your issue in the sidebar, but like 5 minutes, and it's massively more effective for you, not just today, but it bears some real long-term fruit for you. So Locable has this here. Every issue, every other month, they'll put a new item up. They also promote it to the home page, and over time, as you can see on the left, it'll fall out of the carousel. You could choose to keep it pinned if you wanted. And so when I click on this, it links into the article itself. Each article is unique and socially shareable and all that good stuff. They use their publisher letter. They actually do this full width image that I mentioned before. This is my favorite one that they've done, but it's there. And then they've got these inserts. This particular article, they must have been in a hurry. They didn't double check the alignment here, but nevertheless, they quickly inserted the various items there, and then you can also use your digital edition here. Now, what Ryan was saying is you can have this archives page. So I've created the ITI, the in this issue article. I go to the archives, I quickly do the insert feature, and bam, there it is. So that takes you all of 20 seconds to update your archives. Now, what I'll take further is for those of you who are web only or starting to do a lot of web content, there's no reason why you can't do this sort of thing for, say, most read monthly events, most interesting articles from the last month, and you pick 5 or 8 or however many you'd like, and so you can have your web archives, if you will, and you have your print archives, and you could actually intersperse those, right? You could have your ITIs here, and you could have your month of March top stories here. So there's a lot of different things that you can do to use these tools in different ways. We're going to continue this theme of reusing content and simple ways for you to be engaging. We talked about this before. I'm going to quickly go through this again. One of our publishers went to the health department website got some information about recent reviews of restaurants and copied and pasted. It was okay. Health department said go ahead and reuse. And so you can see they did the weekly report for Mentor, name of the town. She had this nice graphic at the top, and she proceeded to go down the list. Paste. What she did, which was smart, she did include the links over to the individual listings. And at the end, she created this graphic. Like Ryan said, give people tools. Let them promote themselves. And they said any restaurants that had 0 violations can use this tool and link out to their listing to get customer reviews. So if I go to, Brian's sub shop and I had this listed here, you could click over and go see my review. Or rather, go leave me a review on my directory listing. Whether you want to use these on your site varies based on what the focus of your content is, although I would encourage you to think about this is really relevant information that sort of serves your community, and it's not exactly a secret anyways. However, when you pull it together, it's hugely valuable. 4,400 shares. 4,400 shares on Facebook. Her community is just under 50,000 people. Almost 10% of the people who live in her community hit the like button. And we know more than half read it. That's great. It took maybe an hour to fully tabulate this and copy and paste and so forth, and she got like 30-something thousand views. What are you doing now that isn't getting you close to 30,000 views? So, simple tools to generate content that's relevant. And of course, this is public information. Okay, a couple quick tech updates. We don't have anything major, but I want to highlight a couple things. We talked last week about the marketing update for the directory. I'm quickly going to show this to you. So if you go to your places page, which you can get to from a variety of places on your website, you will see this page. Above the fold, it's not all that different, but as I scroll down, the details start to become more obvious, most notably this table. We mentioned previously that this table or this layout is available for you to use in your offline sales as well, slightly different. A couple things to note. The items over here, you can hover over them and get a description. We're going to be adding some images and refining that. So any questions that you have, we welcome your feedback on what that copy means. You have the ability to compare listings. You've got your unclaimed on the upper left, as in someone created it for a venue. On the lower left, you've got your claimed but free, and on the right, you've got your premium. There's a lot of benefits to upgrading to enhanced and premium, both on the listing and on the prominence of the site, and those are identified with these various marks. The local spotlight is probably the most single valuable thing of being a featured, or rather a premium listing. I'll quickly pull up Mansfield since we were already talking about Mansfield. She has a couple premium listings, and you have a choice to have them appear either immediately below the carousel or immediately above the gallery. And in this case, they're up at the top. So only premium listings will appear here, but whether it's 1, 2, or 50, they will appear and they will randomize. So, talk to people. Let them know, hey, for $25 a month, it's a way for you to sort of sneak into the homepage as part of your overall plan there. And of course, many other benefits as well, like auto sharing 4- and 5-star customer reviews to Facebook if you have an upgraded listing, having featured reviews, so forth and so on. So spend some time looking at that. If you want to get a copy of the print edition, let us know. It's up on the Help Center. A small change, we added the phone number field. So if you're creating a venue, either as a venue on an event, or you're using the insert feature on articles and you create a new business, you can actually add the phone number right there, just simplifying that process. Two things you're going to see very soon, as in hopefully later today, but maybe later in the week, is that we're removing the recommended content in the footer. Part of our ongoing testing has been trying out some of the add this tools. So in the upper right, you've got your follow me stuff. On the left, you've got your sharing. As you scroll down the page, it'll pop up and give you some recommended content. And in the footer, you've got some more recommended content. The footer piece isn't working out so well and sort of annoying. So we're going to drop that but keep the rest. So we appreciate the feedback that all of you have given on that. And then one smallish feature that I think you all will appreciate is the ability to assign authors. So we've had a number of people ask about the byline, and so we're working on an update that will not just allow you to change what it says, but to fundamentally assign authorship. So you could come in and you could say, okay, one of my advertisers submitted an advertorial. And so they don't have an account. I'm going to invite them to have an account, and then I'm going to go assign the authorship of that particular article to them. So the byline will be correct. As they submit more in the future, they'll sort of be grouped together in a sense. If someone comments, it'll notify the author of the comment, so it makes it easier for them to come and respond. And so there's just a lot of good benefits that are happening here. We'll have a complete tutorial for this when it rolls out, but given the number of people who've asked about different byline questions, I wanted to quickly introduce it as it's one of the things that should be happening later in the week. So with that, wraps up for today. Hopefully these examples give you some real-world context. If there's anything that you've done that has either been particularly successful or even unsuccessful, we'd like to see it. We'd like to provide you with feedback. If you don't want us to highlight it, we won't. But if there's something to be learned from it, we'd love to highlight that as well for others. So we'll open the floor for questions and answer anything that you would like us to address.